Hello, how are you? As Mr. Rockstar said, YouTubers. One of the best pieces of advice that I read wasn't actually advice so much as a quote. Picasso said, "Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up." Today's coffee chat's going to be about when you have significant life changes and how to stay creative, how to find your creativity sometimes when it's been a bit misplaced or when it's a bit blocked. We all have creative energy, I believe. I think sometimes it's hard to express it. I think sometimes it's hard to identify it. And it's definitely hard sometimes to nurture it, especially when you're going through significant life changes or when something really big happens, and whether it's positive or negative. But I think finding your why is really important to being creative and keeping creative, staying creative. I wrote notes. I'm sorry, but my mind is like all over the place since last week. The news with my dad was not good. Mr. Rockstar's was pretty good, but the news with my dad wasn't. So, what's your why? For me, creativity allows me to express myself. It allows me to try new things. It allows me to learn and to grow as a person, as a creative on a whole. It allows me to experience life in different ways. It allows me to be mindful of moments, and it also allows me to chronicle those moments that are important, like in my journal, through art and words, or sometimes through my writing. It allows me to learn new skills and to change old habits and form new ones or better ones. Creativity helps me to be definitely more mindful about gratitude, about those habits, and it enriches my life through all of that, through art and words, books, writing, poetry, music, color, DIY projects, everything. But when it comes to nurturing my creativity, I'm not always the best. Self-doubt is the enemy of creativity. So is shame, so is guilt, so is not making enough time to be creative, not taking the time to give yourself some me time to be creative. I think regardless, or maybe no, maybe in spite of our past, if we weren't nurtured to be creative, if we weren't supported to be creative when we were young, I think it's important that we nurture our own. And if we had trouble, like Picasso said, remaining artists once we grow up, then we have to learn how to nurture our artist, our inner artist. Whether you are a writer or a artist, as in a painter or a drawer or sketcher, or if you write poetry, or if you're a musician or a quilter or anything that you do that's creative, because creativity will help you grow, and the more you do it, the more it opens doors to be creative in other aspects. And I found that the best way for me is to have fun, to play, to try, to practice, sometimes to change things up if I need to get out of my comfort zone. Last Wednesday, when I got the news about my dad's cancer, I had started journaling, and then I got the news, and then I couldn't draw. I couldn't draw. I was all over the place for a couple of days, and what I found was that maybe doing collage work might work. So I tried that, and it worked. I didn't do stuff I would normally do, and I could have done a lot better job with what I did do, but I created and I learned something from it. I can do that. I can do this. I also saw things from a different perspective because I was in a different place. And sometimes you have to change things up to find your creative energy, to get that creativity out there, to make it work for you. With One Book July, I have been doing the Go Big or Go Home, and since last Wednesday, there have been a lot of things that have been kind of uh, meh, or you know, getting on my nerves, or have had me anxious, or just haven't really sat right with me. One of those things is working in the Hobonichi after I put all that color on the page. because since my focus is so off, that color is extremely distracting. So I started a bullet journal again. I took the Taroko Design Breeze out of the big journal that I had set up with the Enigma, and Shark Week is on its way, and I did some pages. At the end of this, I will show you the pages, and then I will give an actual update. I will do a video for an actual update of One Book July, but I realized I needed a little more calm. I needed things to be a little less colorful and distracting. So I did do art, and I did do a little, but I needed something, yeah, like I said, less distracting. So this is today's, and these are the notes. And like I said, I will do a more in-depth video about my update for me would be week 2, technically, of One Book July, because I started the very end of June. That was my trial week. So it's all sort of being a trial week right now. But this will be, yeah, week 2's update for me. I found that things kind of needed to change. And what I will do is, if this works out pretty well, then because it was working well in the Hobonichi, except for that where it had all that color. It's overwhelming me because I'm already so all over the place because of emotions and anxiety. And I know myself, and I will give up altogether, and then I won't get anything accomplished. So I change things up to suit my needs. And I still was able to be a little creative, and I still was able to get things done, and I think how I set things up. But I've been back and forth with that, and I think that's because I've found that sometimes, as long as I can be creative, but less is more, that works for me, and this may be the thing for me. I may not end up getting a Hobonichi for next year, and I'm okay with that. I'll just get a lot more breezes. Another enigma. So I think I'm finally, getting it and figuring out what does work for me. And that's what One Book July is about for me, is changing things up. It's experimenting. It's challenging myself. It's getting out of my comfort zone. And I was ready to get out of one book, because I've been doing one book, like the Omni Journal kind of thing, for a long time now. And I think that this may work for me, because combining the bullet journal with my sketch notes and my ideas and thoughts and things like that means there's a lot more stuff in there, but it will actually be maybe a little bit more organized, because it'll kind of be on a month. We'll see how it goes. But I think being creative this past few days, I took some time for family. I took some time for me. I'm a bit behind with a lot of things, but that allowed me to get a breath of fresh air, to get a little bit of a different perspective, to kind of regroup my emotions and my thoughts and my ideas and my focus. And now I'm a little bit more focused. I'm still having a little bit of a hard time. Once your emotions and your anxiety and stuff get out of whack like that, it really affects the other things, because I have anxiety anyway. So with anxiety level way up here, way up here, my ADHD is kind of all over the place. And I'm just coping and learning to deal with it right now. So far, so good with all of that. But like I said, when life changes, and life is going to change, it's always going to change. There are always big changes that happen, even if you don't think of them as big changes. Sometimes little changes affect you big, and sometimes big changes affect you just a little. So I'm, like I said, working on everything, and I think I might have found a solution. I'm really glad to have found such a supportive environment as YouTube and One Book July and things like that are so supportive, because I feel comfortable enough to change things and to talk about those changes, and it's energized me creatively, and I feel like I have more of my mojo back, because Wednesday and Thursday I felt like I had lost it. and I figured out something with my software editing, my editing software. Don't enhance the picture thing on video when you also do that was just too much green, I think, for my camera. And some of that with the sunlight, too much green. It enhanced the video a little too much, and it looked kind of like, I'm not sure, a video game. But that was beautiful scenery, and if I can put it up again, I may end up doing that and taking the sound out because of the wind. And taking the sound out and just leaving the music in, and then maybe doing a voiceover. But I didn't want to take Mr. Rockstar out, so he was so funny. But yeah, I apologize for the visual quality there in the couple of parts. If you actually watch the whole 5.5 minutes of it, there were parts that were really good, and the other parts were really good with the camera, but the video editing software messed it up some. So I apologize for that. But it wasn't too long, so I'm all over the place over the next week or so. Pardon me. You'll have to forgive me. Like I said, there's been a lot going on, and the news was not good at all. And I'm still, like I said, all over the place. But I'm back to planning, and I'm back to journaling, and I'm back to creating my own art. I'm about to work on some art right now, and I'm pretty excited about that because it feels good to be doing it. My dad goes back to work this week. He should have already left to go to work this morning. He's fighting, and he's not going to quit or give up, and I'm not either. And um, no. So y'all have a good one. Thanks. Bye.